Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Music of the Week, the second to last one of the year now. And now, something has sort of changed about me over the last 24 hours. It's the fact that I didn't post a Weather Night review yesterday. I mean, I wanted to, but I was expecting this to happen a day sooner. And there's also the fact that the fight was not great. So, yeah, do not count Cheyenne Boys versus Mallory Martin being in my top 10 of the year, although, you know, most of the rounds were just sort of the same. Very one-sided affair. Wasn't too great. There you go, there's your quick review. What's going to be less quick though is this video. Got 6 albums to go through for this one, so let's just get through them. We start in Melbourne, Australia with Between You and Me and their second album, Armageddon. I caught their first one called... what the hell was it called? Everything is Temporary, that's what it was called. And I did like that one, and I like this one too. If I were, like, I don't remember if I graded that album, because, like, 2018 was when I started first doing Music of the Month, but I didn't give that grades. So, I'm giving this album the same grade I would have given that one, I think. Giving it a B. Really strong, modern-style pop-punk. The album did suffer from Hopeless, the label that the band was signed to, giving it not a lot of promotion, honestly. Although there are some absolute banging tracks on the album, just really fun, modern pop-punk. A really nice take on the sort of, like, more emotional tinge of it, and a bit more mature as well, sort of like what 2 Year Break did in a way. You know, not like pushing the boundaries that much, but in terms of its lyrical content, it's a much bigger step forward, and it's still a really solidly put together album, so I'd recommend giving it a try. The production's really tight, you know, it's put together nicely, and the band are just really easy to get behind. Then again, I am a sucker for a good Aussie act, and these are a really good Aussie act. I hope they can put more things together next time, maybe a different label, because I like Hopeless, but I think Between You and Me would be a lot better if they're on Pure Noise. I'm just saying. Next we go to Los Angeles, California, because we always wind up there at least once a week, for Black Label Society and their 11th album, Doom Crew Inc. Now, I'm vaguely familiar with Black Label Society. Zakk Wylde, I would say, is one of my favourite guitarists, like, ever to do it. And I never fully got behind BLS's particular style of groove metal, and I don't think this album really changed my mind. I'm giving it a C. For the most part, like, this album, in terms of its structuring and instrumentation as well, is just waiting for Zakk Wylde's guitar solo, and then we can all move on with our day. It's just a really sort of slow and plodding album, but the guitar work does save, and Zakk Wylde is still a really good singer. You know, he's never had the most range, but he is a lot better a vocalist than people give him credit for, I think. And, yeah, besides that, it's just fine everywhere else, you know? Lyrics are not anything I haven't heard before. Production isn't anything I haven't heard before. And Zakk Wylde produced it, so I can only assume he's been doing the same thing for the 20-something years that the band have even been a thing. So, yeah, it's kind of a difficult one to really pin on, but still not the worst, if that helps. And I would still recommend maybe giving it a go if you're a Black Label Society fan, because this is my first album by them. I don't think it was the best point to jump on, but it wasn't the worst either. Next we go to Victorville, Southern California, which is still in California, for Face to Face with their 11th album, No Way Out But Through. I'm calling it their 11th one because the last one was an acoustic renditions album. Those don't count to me. Original music. So this is technically, by that law, technically their first album in 5 years and not 3. So Face to Face are one of the old school American punk bands I've been vaguely familiar with but never gotten around to. In fact, that's been quite a theme for a lot of my favourite albums of this year. By the way, yeah, no, this album is great. I'm giving it straight up A+, the only A-related grade of the episode. But yeah, these guys have been around for 30 years, and I had plenty of time to catch up on them. I just didn't because I'm not uber familiar with them. But after this, I have to change that sort of, I have to change that way of thinking about them. Really solid punk instrumentation. Love the vocal work especially, is really good as well. It's like a slightly watered down version of the Oohs and Ahs by Bad Religion, but not by much, and it's still pretty frequent and still a lot of fun to listen to. Really love how it's layered. The production's really handled well. I love a lot of the lyrics, how they're a lot more mature and not just like the old school, like, anarchy thing, which a lot of American punk bands do still sometimes do, but obviously Face to Face sort of veered away from that, going for a more emotional feel, which I liked, you know, obviously fitting with the album's more positive theme from the title. The performances are really great. Trevor Keefe is a really good singer, he's a really good guitarist as well. No complaints, honestly, like, you know, it also does that thing I love where there is mostly fairly long punk tracks I don't know why I do that in quotation marks. Mostly fairly long punk tracks, and no, like, unnecessary short ones to satisfy the purists. I hate it when bands do that, and I want to thank Face to Face for not doing that, because that really annoys me. Like, just let punk grow, man. And thank you, Face to Face, for letting punk grow, and for giving me another possible Album of the Year contender, you bastards. Next we go to Trelleborg, Sweden, for Imminence with their 4th album, Heaven in Hiding. Now, this one is quite possibly one of the most anticipated ones of the year, ever since they started like dropping singles like late last year, like Ghost and stuff like that. Stuff like that isn't the name of the song. Ghost is one of the names of the songs, and I was looking forward to this one, and it's still great. It's still a really good album. I'm giving it a B+, and yeah, I know people are probably going to me, why you're not giving it an A? Well, I will tell you the reason why. As much as I like it, I like the instrumentation, I like the emotion behind it, I like the content behind the lyrics. The production's really good too. It needed more of a crazy factor. Like, the lead singer plays violin, and I really wanted him to play more violin. Not that he's a bad singer, because he's really good. You know, his high screams are especially amazing, but I really wanted more violin work. You know, I wanted it to feel a little bit more symphonic than it was. But as a solid post-hardcore album, which is exactly what it is, it's really good. You know, really good album. I'm not going to put it in my top of the year. I assume a lot of the people are. I liked it a lot. It's just, it needed that factor to really tip it over the edge, and it didn't really have that for me personally. And obviously people, no one fucking watches these videos, but I guarantee people are going to like say that, you know, I'm super biased. I'm not. Well, like, a little bit. But I'm not biased against it, and I think if it weren't my first full Imminence album, I would be a lot more behind it. You know, like, it's not like it's the first time I've heard this particular style, but Imminence do have that something unique, which I think does elevate the album. I wish they tapped into it more. That's the point I'm trying to convey. So, yeah, still great though, and I still recommend listening to it. Next we go to Trieste, Italy, for Rhapsody of Fire with their 13th album, Glory for Salvation. Now, I listened to the last one, The Eighth Mountain, and the album was really good. I think I graded it. I don't remember if I fully did. And a lot of the album was elevated because of the posthumous narration by Christopher Lee. Rest in peace, you great, great man. This album is not as good, not because it doesn't have Christopher Lee on it, but it's just not as interesting. I'm giving it a C. It feels like, honestly, the most bang average style of symphonic power metal you can do. And I've covered a lot of that this year, not just for these, but for backtracking too. Okay, not as much with backtracking, but still, it's a thing I've had to talk about a lot this year, and you know how I feel about this particular genre, and Rhapsody of Fire, who, again, The Eighth Mountain was really good, and you should definitely check that album out. They just decided to play it a bit too safe for me. I know, like, it's the classic power metal thing of, it's also one of the reasons why I used to hate Dragon Force a lot more than I do now, which is like, there would be a lot happening, but little actually going on, you know? And this album suffers from that heavily with its instrumentation. The production is mostly handled by the band's keyboardist and only actual proper member, whose name is Alex Staropoli. Very keyboard heavy, the album is. Not that that's a bad thing, but it feels so dominant. It's not a bad album. They've still got really good melodies for power metal, and it taps into its concept really well, because the band do good concept albums. They're power metal, of course they do. They're from Italy. Italy have great songwriters when it comes to bands like this, but you know, it doesn't do much besides that. It doesn't really try and elevate itself, and again, the production feels a bit selfish in a way because it focuses so much on the keyboard work. I don't know. There's not really a lot of balance there. But it's okay. That's why the C grade exists. And finally for the episode, we go to Sweden again, specifically Varberg, for We Are the Catalyst with their 4th album, Perseverance. I know, another Swedish band with their 4th album, released this year. And also playing a very similar genre of metal to Imminence, with the alternative metal and stuff. And also, like Imminence's album, also getting a B+, really like this. So, We Are the Catalyst are not as like grandiose with their presentation as Imminence are, but they're still really solid with how they do it. The lead singer, Kat Faye? Is that correct? Hang on, I just want to make sure I am getting it right. It is. Go me. But yeah, she's great. The entire band is great. There's not really a lot of members. There's only like 3 people in it, and I think that can help a band like this because, you know, the fewer people there are, it's not as likely to overtake, and there's not really a lot of that on the album, which I appreciate. You know, no one's really trying to steal a show from anyone. Kat Faye is a great vocalist, but she's not the main focus, which I always like in a band like this. And again, I think I would think higher of it if this weren't my first full album by them, but I feel more of a keenness to go over We Are the Catalyst stuff as opposed to Eminence's stuff. Not that I don't want to do it for Eminence, I just think, you know, I'd be kicking myself in the head if I didn't do it a bit better with We Are the Catalyst. But still, really solid bit of metal, you know, the performances are really great. Again, like the lyrics, because, you know, Perseverance, more of a positive, uplifting sort of name and a good theme for the album as well. And yeah, really enjoyable, really good production too. And again, put together quite well. Not really much else I could say. So that will about do it for the video, and now comes the outro bit where I do the announcing of what's next. So, what is next? Well, I'm trying to double up an album review, so if I'm lucky, not if you're lucky, if I'm lucky, I can get up another, possibly the last episode of Music of the Week, before the week is out, and then catch up Chaos, because I started listening to some of the albums I've missed out on. I haven't gotten around to grading those or the stuff from this past Friday, but I will get to that, and I'll hopefully be able to get it done quick. And no stream tomorrow night, because obviously after a pay-per-view I take a week off, so the next stream you'll see me for will be this Friday night, where I'll start streaming my new Let's Play, if you can call it that, with Rain on Your Parade, which is a game where you get to be a cloud and basically be a giant dick to people. And, you know, I have a lot of practice with that, not being the cloud part, but being a dick to people. I'm really good at that, so that'll be for Friday night, and then after that possibly another Fight the Night review. Maybe it might be Fight the Night actually worth going over, I'm hoping, because god damn, like, Cheyenne Boys vs. Mallory Martin was just so middle of the road. You know, if I were grading that, I'd give that a C. It just didn't feel too strongly either way for it, and it's not going to make my top 10 anyway. So that'll about do it. So possible Music of the Week episode, maybe a Catch Up Chaos episode, and maybe Fight of the Night. The only guarantee I have is the stream on Friday. So that's really all else I've got to say. I may as well end it now. And as always, thank you for watching. You're awesome. I have new hair. Bye bye.